Talk to Dr. Don't know. That's Sharon. Got it. Thank It kind of sounds like
Jordan on our mic desk. Yeah.
Huh. How's it really bad?
because by the end of the day, so I looked at the mirror and I was like, hi. It won't look as cool.
Dr. Ross. Boom.
Where? Oh, that's an like how we look, but it's.
I did not think it was gonna happen.
I know. I found like awesome because they like. I don't know if I even like that's what I want to get these over here. If you don't take it, it's just because like just like calm down. How are you? I'm sorry. These tickets to this. And you're probably only. So are you actually?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I don't know tickets. We don't need it on there. Like doing this.
He's gonna miss it.
Welcome back, Isaiah. That's pretty please. I've only been to one concert.
Yeah, I went to
That's actually 19 months. Seriously? And I'll tell you, I'm not. You are. It says, you are the same
The time is 7 p.m. and I call the first special session of the 38th Senate of Whitewater Student Government to order. As we are able, please join me in rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Get Abby to WebEx to you. We will be moving into the oath of office of the 38th Senate. So if I call your last name, please sneak through the sides and join me up front so that the clerk may read you your oath. So I have Patricus, Wilson, Hinton, Reberg, Reyes, Schroffnagel, Lane, Marty, Hernandez, Gielig, Fresnel, and Van High. Please join us up front.
Yeah, but there's a clipboard out there somewhere too.
And if everybody could do me a favor, if we could touch this a little bit for everybody. Come closer, folks. Let's see it.
I don't think it's
No, I don't know.
I totally thought it was that kind of photo.
Give me a curve, please.
The president has requested a curve.
Who's like the car?
Gotta stand. We're all best friends.
Oh, this kind of.
Oh.
We're the Warhawk family. Gotta give them the Warhawk welcome.
I like that.
You have been chosen by the students of the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater as a senator on the student government. Understanding that you've been chosen to perform such an active and important role, do you accept the position of senator and all of the responsibilities, duties, and privileges that it will include? If so, say yes.
Yes.
If so, say I will to the best of my ability.
I will to the best of my ability.
Repeat after me. I state your name.
I am.
Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
to fulfill the obligations and responsibilities of my office,
to fulfill the obligations and responsibilities of my office,
to be knowledgeable of
to be knowledgeable of
and uphold the WSG Constitution,
and uphold the WSG Constitution,
the WSG standing rules,
the WSG standing rules,
and university policies
and university policies
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congrats, it's my pleasure to introduce the newest members of the Whitewater Student Government.
Thank you.
Dang.
Congratulations.
I'm just wondering.
Oh my gosh, I went the wrong way.
Congratulations.
Now you got
Now I'm student government senator.
Yes.
What is your name, by the way?
Eva?
My name is Hannah.
I don't even think it matters. Abby, did you?
Where did Logan park?
Please everybody find your seats and we will.
Who's this here?
Tell them I'm sorry. I just saw the notification.
I saw Logan this morning.
This feels weird. What are we doing? Why are we doing this? I didn't.
No. Hey, I put my stuff on here first. I put my stuff.
Wait, Nick, I'm gonna start already seeing that.
No, I don't wrong seats.
You can sit wherever.
All right, well, now you've claimed your seat, doesn't mean that it's your seat for the rest of the semester.
Oh.
Feel free to move around. That's interesting. As is, that's the ruling I'm making. As it is stated in our Constitution standing rules tonight, we shall move into special orders, starting with the election of the Speaker of the Senate. So I'm looking for nominations for Speaker of the Senate. Mr. Lang.
I nominate Senator Wilson.
Senator Wilson, do you accept?
I do.
Any other nominations?
I nominate Jordan Purnell.
Senator Purnell?
I decline.
All. Thank you. Any other nominations? Mr. Wilson, would you like to come still give a brief little
I'd love to.
spiel, although you're unopposed? Please, trust me. I see a nomination from Senator Whedon.
Yeah, Senator Patrice.
I decline.
Fine. Folks, that's no fun. Senator Wilson, please join us at the front.
If you want.
Shaking, let's see, we don't want this shaking.
Well, folks, it's good to be back with you for another semester. I've done this 3 times now. Every single time I get very nervous. And I think that's because I really do care about this. I said when I took the job a year and a half ago that I thought that it would be the honor of my life right next to being a big brother to my little sister, and that has since been true. There is no role I've held in my entire life that I've felt the same pride in holding. And I thought a lot about what I kind of wanted to say, and every time I say a little something different when I'm running for speaker. And this time, instead of saying like initiatives or things I wanted to do, you're free to come talk to me about them, but I'm in the office all the time and lots of you kind of already know the things I'm working on. I wanted to write down 4 lessons from my year and a half that kind of apply to the work I'm doing, and I intend to continue to apply to the work I'm doing if reelected. And those things are to call early and often. And what I mean by that is when you hear somebody's working on something and you think you might be interested in it, the best thing to do is call them and find out what's going on. Moreover, if you hear somebody's working on something and you go, what the heck is that? I've never thought that should happen or could happen. Call early and often. Get the phone numbers of the senators sitting to your left and right. Get involved in their work and in their lives. And our work as a body will be more fruitful because of that. The second thing is to take the lead. It's really easy to do when you have a title attached to your name to take the lead, right? Somebody's got to swing the gavel and somebody has to give the reports. But that does not stop any of the folks in this room from taking the lead and making their work theirs. If you're sitting in your seat right now and you're thinking your WSG career has not been what you thought it could be, or you've only been here one semester, and now you really have a good understanding of things and you want to dive into the work, take the lead. It is the job of the folks who are actively doing the work right now to embolden the people who are interested in taking the lead. So reach out, ask questions, and if people tell you no, continue to knock. Pester, bug, ensure that the voices that you're representing are represented on the floor and in the work you do. And that leads right into the third thing, which is embolden others. It's a big part of, I think, the role of the speakership, but also the role of every single one of us who has constituents. So embolden your constituents. Tell them that it is their voice that you're representing, and you'll be a better steward of their, sometimes it's their dollars, sometimes it's their voice. We need to make a lot of decisions. Embolden the folks around you, embolden the folks you serve, and if you're elected to a position tonight or any other night, embolden the folks that have elected you to that position, and that's what I plan to do if reelected. And the last thing, and this is really important to me, and it's something I'm really trying to focus on into the next semester, and it's that I think fundamentally students are not served by stagnation. And what I think that means is it is always better to look for the compromise. It is always better to try to find the way that you can serve students instead of saying, I'm not sure this works yet. Put the time in, put the effort in, and remember that when our body is not moving, we are the only way in which, given the state statute that's on that wall, students have chose to organize. We are the only way in which students can effectively lever their voice toward campus administrators, and it is important to remember that silence does not serve them and stagnation does not serve them. Find the compromise and get the work done. So I have plenty of initiatives, and if the chair so moves us into questions, you're welcome to ask me about any of them. But those are the 4 lessons I think I've taken away the most from the last year and a half as speaker, and I can't wait, if reelected, to serve the body again. So thank you, and Mr. Chair, I yield.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. We're moving into questions. I'm looking for unlimited questions from either the Senate or the gallery, as I see some familiar faces. Senator Marty.
I'm just wondering about this. How do you ask for, I know that dining and rooms are a big deal here in Whitewater. How do I make sure to ask deeper questions beyond dining and rooms for the constituents to make sure that their mental health needs are met and their physical and emotional needs are met as a senator?
Man, that's a great question. And I think you kind of started to tackle it in the question itself, right? So everybody knows when you're talking to constituents, you get housing and dining recommendations the first thing, and I think that's obvious because that's what students interact with the most. If you go to a common council meeting, you're likely to hear people talk about property taxes and roads because that's what a citizen in a local community deals with. And I think those are kind of our, that's our plowing and that's our property taxes, right? But it's important to recognize that students live their lives and have a litany of problems. As you mentioned, mental health is a big thing. Affordability is a big thing. It's important that when a student mentions dining, you say that's great. You talk about the work that our organization is currently doing to serve those students through dining and through housing. Ask the directors for their expertise so you know the organization's plans in regards to those things. And then after that part of the conversation, understand that your constituent had those concerns and then ask, what else is going on? And I think that will allow you, when you come into this room on Monday nights, to better serve those voices and problems that maybe a student is less likely to bring up on their first or second concern.
Further questions? From the gathering, Mr. Ben Calvin, welcome back from BC. What is your question?
You talked about stagnation as being something to avoid. I think that approach is commendable. If I may ask, since it seems you might have some ideas in mind, could you list potentially 3 external facing, as in policy that's not dealing with WSG internal rules, that you would like to push for if given another term as speaker?
That's a great question. And man, I think the number one thing that comes to mind, just because I'm sending out emails here once I have a few conversations, the president has tasked me, as well as the academic affairs directors with, or I guess the academic affairs director now, with adding some folks to the AI conversation. And when I say folks, I mean making sure that students are present in those conversations. So we'll be working with deans to ensure there's currently a committee that exists that's handling those things, but we're just looking to get student representation up on those things. I think student success is a big thing that I think about, and how we can facilitate student success. One of those big things to me is understanding the difference between extracurricular and co-curricular. So that's a committee I served on last semester, along with Luke Schroffnagel. I think creating a definition is important for admin at the university because it helps us in terms of retention and enrollment. And those numbers are important. But I think what's really important to students is that that definition is clear so that they're better insulated when, say, there's a problem and their extracurriculars might be on the line. I think it's really important that we insulate those co-curriculars so that students get to continue to have really important experiences. And the third thing, I mean, there are so many things. I'm on the textbook rental committee as well, chaired by Eric Lepp, and I think as we continue to have conversations about how the online textbook space continues to advance, how do we ensure that students get to participate in those things affordably, and how do we ensure that it doesn't affect their education? So I think those are the 3 things externally. Right, man, it's hard to say that those are the 3 most important, but those are just the 3 top of mind.
Follow up?
Slightly different, but in the same thing. Another question just related to the speaker or your potential reappointment to speaker. How do you view the balance of authority with the speaker and the president, and kind of balancing prerogatives and what the Senate, like, let me rephrase. Where do you see the Senate fitting into the puzzle that is WSG? Where does it push? Where does it lead? Where does it follow? And more accurately, would you like anything to be different in this semester versus previous semesters?
Fantastic question, man.
That's a fantastic
Really,
So, man, I created this whole list of 4 things that I've taken away more than anything else in my time as speaker. And that's true, they're all true. I think they are the 4 most important takeaways, particularly in terms of being key turn things that the Senate can use immediately. But if on a more personal level, it's no secret that President Doug Bradley and I are close personal friends. And at the very beginning of my appointment to the speakership, man, would I have had a different answer to this question. It might not be known to many in the room, but there was a night where Doug and I said we were no longer going to talk. That's how intense it got, right? So I think there are times in which the wants and the needs that the Senate perceives that students have are different than the wants and the needs that the executives of our organization thinks that the students have. What I think is the most important thing to do in those conversations is realize that at the heart of the conversation, everybody's coming in with amazing intentions, or at least generally speaking, everyone's coming in with amazing intentions. And to enter those conversations not as adversaries, but as allies in trying to serve students the best way possible in a really tangible sense. What I think that means is when a decision needs to be made, the Senate needs to be one of 2 things: asked or updated frequently. And as the speaker, I think it's my job to ensure in as many places as possible they're asked, and when they can't be asked, that they're updated frequently. And sometimes that is to the slowing of work that the board is doing. I totally understand that. I think it is the prerogative of the Speaker and the Senate to ensure that they are updated and frequently asked when things are going on. And I think Doug and I have established a great relationship in ensuring that committees have a good voice in that role, but also that the individuals present in our body have a good voice in that role. Man, have I been told before that I'm not doing a good job at that. And if any of you think in any moment, for any reason, that I'm not doing a good job at that, I hope, not only in the past, but in the future, I have been receptive to that, and I will continue to be receptive to that, and bring the needs of the Senate into the cabinet conversations and the personal conversations I have with the President, as uncomfortable as it may be and has been. Thank you. Great question.
Looking for further questions? Senator Keeling.
What is your greatest leadership weakness and how do you plan to address it?
That's a great question. I care way too much about what people think, for sure. I have a really hard time making decisions that I know to be true, but that I think a large percentage of people are going to not like. I think so much of the role as Speaker is figuring out what the expectations and what the incentive structures are for people to be wanting what they want, personal, professional, and in regards to serving students, and trying to manage those. I think I've gotten much better at it. I think my biggest weakness is when somebody says, yeah, man, I'm not sure this is the right thing to do. My first thought, you can kind of see it in the things that I picked out. My first thought is compromise or give, even if my heart is telling me that maybe giving is against principle. And I think there are times in which in my role as Speaker, I have given too much. I'm not sure I would say I regret any of those things because I think it has preserved the kinds of relationships that allow for further work to happen in really productive manners. As I move through the rest of my time in this organization, I'm going to try to exercise that muscle where when somebody says, I'm not like this, I don't like this, I try to say, yeah, I think on principle it should still happen. That said, I'm not sure I'm going to be very good at it, so please elect me regardless. Thank you.
Any further questions? Oh, I thought that I was going there. Going once. Senator Lang, go ahead.
If you were a tool in a toolbox, what would you be?
Man, I didn't prep for this one. I think I'm going off the top of my head here, and it's a little meta. So hang in there with me. I think I would be an analogy that the foreman uses to explain to the builder of the house what they're doing. And the reason I would say that is because I think no matter what tools you have, letting the people you're working with know how you're doing it in a way that they can understand is the most important thing you can do. So I would be an explanation or an analogy that a builder uses to communicate with the person contracting.
Any further questions? I've heard a lot of answers that are not tools that I mean the furthest from a tool. But looking for any other questions?
Tools are really important, Mr. President.
Yes.
Look clarification, I promise I'll be brief. Just to keep it clear, on the relation between is there any changes specifically in how the Senate internal operations as the Speaker? Like in your role as Speaker, how would you do this specifically different in this next term?
Are you,
Like procedure?
is it a follow-up to your last question?
Yeah, kind of a follow-up to my last, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I just wanted to clarify that point.
I think I would harken back to ask, right? I'll admit that I kind of hedged a bit in saying ask or update. I could probably do better in ensuring that the Senate is asked, but I'm giving myself the out, and I'm not promising that I will not continue to use it, that updates are better than nothing. But I will prioritize, if made clear to me that that's the will of the Senate, that asking is better than updating. I would say that that's fluctuated in my time. There are some Senates that I would say prefer to be asked, and there are some Senates that I would say prefer to be updated and moved into work. It's always different. I'm excited to see what the 38th Senate has in terms of asks. If you're looking for something more concrete, I think we probably need to take a look at how we can better, and by we, I mean whoever is elected deputy speaker and I, understand a senator's relationship to external and internal committees, whether they're going, why they're going, and what they're doing there. I think there's a little bit of work that we can do in terms of making sure that folks are going, et cetera.
Any further questions? Going once, going twice, hearing and seeing none, we will move into a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, when you are ready. Please call the roll.
Senator Gielich,
Yes.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
I'm looking, so just as a reminder, it's been a while, I've meant
Yes,
to do this.
I forgot.
Looking for a vote of aye is yes, you want the candidate. A vote of nay would be no. And abstention, a call to abstain, should really only ever be used with somebody who would gain monetary value from that vote. And I don't imagine anybody here would be gaining monetary value, so I'm not expecting any abstention votes here. So aye is yes, nay is no. Please either aye or nay. The clerk calls in. We will start from the top, please.
Senator Gielich,
Aye.
Senator Hernandez,
Aye.
Senator Lang,
Aye.
Senator Marty,
Aye.
Senator Patricus,
Aye.
Senator Cornell,
Aye.
Senator Reber,
Aye.
Senator Reyes,
Aye.
Senator Schrocknagel,
Aye.
Senator Vanderhyde,
Aye.
Senator Wheatman,
Aye.
Speaker Wilson.
Abstain.
With that, the vote of 11-1, it is my honor to present to you the new speaker of the 30th session of the Whitewater Student Government. You got them right, right?
Which is, you can leave that agenda.
None. You have been elected by the 30th Senate of the Whitewater Student Government to serve as their speaker. Understanding that you have been chosen to perform such an active and important role, do you accept the position of speaker and all the responsibilities, duties, and privileges that it will include? If so, say I will to the best of my ability.
I will to the best of my ability.
Please repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Isaiah Wilson,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to fulfill the obligations and responsibilities of my office,
to fulfill the obligations and responsibilities of my office,
to be knowledgeable of
to be knowledgeable of,
and uphold the WSG Constitution,
and uphold the WSG Constitution,
WSG standing rules,
the WSG standing rules,
and university policies
and university policies
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Folks, it is my pleasure to introduce you, the Speaker of the 30th Senate of the Whitewater Student Government, Speaker Isaiah Wilson.
Thank you, folks.
Isaiah, there are agendas.
Thank you very much. I am going to grab my mug and my book, and we'll get right down to business. Before I begin, I want to say a big thank you, because last semester this was the case as well. Kristen Philhauer and Tanya Schmidt still come into WSG meetings. We really appreciate it. I can't express enough when I talk about how important I think that relationship is in terms of external stuff. I had a question about some of those things. Seeing administrators in the room is like the best thing we can see in terms of student governments. It means we have good relationships, and it means we want to continue to foster them and utilize them to serve students. So thank you very much to Tanya Schmidt online and Kristen Philhauer in person. With that, we will continue moving through the agenda. Thank you very much. We will move into the election of the Deputy Speaker of the Senate. Looking for nominations. Are there any nominations? We go with Senator Schroff now.
I nominate Nick Patricus.
Wonderful. Senator Patricus, do you accept?
I do.
Wonderful. Any other nominations? Senator Purnell.
I nominate Senator Lang.
Senator Lang, do you accept?
I do not.
Wonderful. Any other nominations? Going once, going twice, seeing none. With that, Senator Patricus, if you'd like to join us up front, we will set a 3-minute timer. And you can tell us a little bit about why you want to be the next Deputy Speaker of the Senate. And then we'll move into questions. Your time will begin whenever you begin speaking.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm getting a lot of deja vu right now. It was about a year ago this time. I was up here running for Deputy Speaker, also unopposed. I don't know. It's just a fun day. Thank you everyone for the opportunity to be up here. My name is Nick Patricus. If you don't know who I am, I'm a senior majoring in public policy and administration. A year ago, I was elected Deputy Speaker. Prior to that, I was parliamentarian. I'm also currently the SUFAC chair. So I do help things out here. What I've done for the last year in the role of Deputy Speaker, and what I'd like to continue doing, just touch on some of the things I've done. I created an IEC process, the Internal Evaluations Committee process, of which the Deputy Speaker chairs, along with the Vice Chair, Senator Emily Wiegand. That was a fun task we had to do. It was right back when I got back from being abroad. It is the first one I'm aware of, and the first one that the committee has had to do in at least half a decade. Probably longer than that, but it's a couple pages. You had to write a pretty good document. I created the shared drive that many of you use and look at, also the official roster. I'm the person who updates that. Fun fact, I'm also the only current student who has proposed constitution changes. Fun thing. I'm also the longest serving senator for a while. Also spent the past 6 months working on rewriting our election rules with our clerk. The first part of which you'll see tonight. Many of you have already seen, but the Elections Modernization Act of 2026. I could talk about what I've done for a while. You don't really care. What you do probably care about is what I want to do. And as Deputy Speaker, if given the opportunity to be re-elected, I want to finish working on our election rules. They're kind of pieced together and inconsistent. And I talked to a Speaker Emeritus of the Whitewater Student Government who agreed with me that they are in dire need of updating. So I want to work on that. Something I'd like to do is completely overhaul our committees, both internal and how we interact externally as a body. Internal will be a little bit bigger of a project, I think, but something I plan to do is email every committee chair when committees are updated with what committee you've been appointed to, what your name is, so that you are getting on those committees. In the past, it's kind of been left up to each individual to reach out for themselves, and then I know a lot of the times it doesn't get done, or I know in the past I have forgotten to email committee chairs, and then they're just left without a student representative, and that's an issue. I also want to continue working with new senators on writing legislation. In the fall, Senator Lang and I worked on a standing rules bill. I've worked with various other senators in the past. I want to continue doing that, getting topics to people, writing bills, getting you involved in what we do. I have some other things I've been working on, but feel free to ask questions. That makes me feel great.
Any questions? Senator White?
So I have been honestly trying to ask my fellow constituents and my representatives to help me get into the seat on what they wanted to see. And I'm working on, and as I've been learning, I have been trying to get their needs proposed and passed. What advice would you give to the fellow senators for the best way to get a bill proposed onto the floor?
Yep. The best way is you got to start with a topic, right? So you gotta have a thing to write a bill about, right? The second step I would do is see if there's already work in that space, see if something is already being done. Maybe the thing you already want to do, it has been done, it's just not being communicated in a way, or not reaching that student. So I typically it's talking to someone, if it's like a student affairs issue, I would talk to Director Rosquist or Associate Director Turner. See if it's something in their space that maybe they're working on, maybe it's already being done. Just research, right? That's one of that research writing step. A lot of the times, problems can be solved without legislation. But if it gets to the point of writing legislation, you have the template. Now you have a topic, and you've done the research. You just got to put it all together. It's an open invite to anyone. If you have a topic, you want to write legislation about it. I've written a lot of bills. My services are free of charge if you want assistance. But that's what I would do if you want to write legislation. Those are the steps I would take.
Any other questions? Once? Twice? Seeing none, wonderful. With that, we'll move into a roll call vote. A vote of aye will be a vote in favor of the candidate. A vote of aye will be, a vote of nay will be a vote against. I'd welcome to abstain, but understand that we only generally do that if monetary incentive is on the line. Encourage it. Madam Clerk, when you're ready, would you please call the roll?
I just want to remind everyone, and people who weren't here last semester, so I will start the next name down. And so I'm not skipping your name, you'll be first then instead. Senator Hernandez.
Aye. Sorry.
Senator Lane.
Aye.
Senator Marty.
Aye.
Senator Petrikis.
Aye.
Senator Purnell.
Aye.
Senator Reber.
Aye.
Senator Reyes.
Aye.
Senator Schrockmangel.
Aye.
Senator Vanderhyde.
Aye.
Senator Wheatman.
Aye.
Senator Healy.
Aye.
Speaker Wilson.
Pass.
Speaker Wilson.
Aye. With that, it is my honor to introduce you to Deputy Speaker-elect Nick Petrikis. Elected unanimously, that is. Deputy Speaker-elect Nick Petrikis, you join me up front for your oath. Given you have been elected by the Senate of the Whitewater Student Government to serve as its Deputy Speaker, understanding that you have been chosen to perform such an active and important role, do you accept the position of Deputy Speaker and all of the responsibilities, duties, and privileges it will include? If so, say, I will to the best of my ability.
I will to the best of my ability.
Repeat after me. I, state your name,
I, Nicholas Petrikis,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to fulfill the obligations and responsibilities of my office,
to fulfill the obligations and responsibilities of my office,
to be knowledgeable of
to be knowledgeable of
and uphold the WSG Constitution,
and uphold the WSG Constitution,
the WSG standing rules,
the WSG standing rules,
and university policies,
and university policies,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, it is my pleasure to introduce you to the new Deputy Speaker of the 38th Senate of the Whitewater Student Government, Nicholas A. Petrikis. All right. Well, Deputy Speaker Petrikis finds his stuff and finds a seat next to me. We will move on to the election of a parliamentarian. I'm looking for nominations. Any nominations? Senator Lane?
I nominate Senator Reberg.
Wonderful. Senator Reber, do you accept?
I accept.
Wonderful. Any other nominations? Once, Senator Martin?
I accept it. I nominate Jordan Purnell.
Wonderful. Senator Purnell, do you accept?
I accept.
Wonderful. Given both of you have accepted, any other nominations? Going once, going twice. Seeing none. Wonderful. With that, we will move to the election of a parliamentarian. If I could have you both join us up at the podium. We will move into 3 minutes. I know I let Deputy Speaker Patricus go about 3 minutes and 30, but as soon as we hear the alarm, given there are, that's okay. Given there are, it's competitive here, I'm gonna have a hard cap at 3 minutes, and we'll go to unlimited questions. So if you don't get to something, please whip it into a question. We will start with the first nominated candidate, Senator Reberg. Your time will begin. No, it's fine. If you'd like to project, you can, but you don't feel the need to. Your time will begin, and you begin speaking. The floor is yours.
So when first, I'm Lachlan Reaver. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a senior and I'm a history major. When I started in the Senate, a lot of what parliamentarian did, what I saw was outreach, and a lot of that was very difficult for me, frankly. It was really hard. I had to fill out Connect 2 forms. I didn't really understand whether I was counted toward or against outreach, and I kind of felt like I was being penalized by a system that was meant to be interesting and was meant to connect me with the people that I'm supposed to be serving. I didn't really feel that that was the way that outreach should have been done or really should be done. I think that it should be fun and interesting and educational, just as this job is. I don't think that this job should be a punitive thing. I don't think people that work as a parliamentarian should ever be using the rules against people as like a way to punish people. I don't think that's in good taste, and I don't think it works for the betterment of a governing body. In Robert's rules, the whole point of a parliamentarian is to make the meeting go smoother, faster, and make sure there are as little disagreement as possible. And if there is, it's politically sound and it's moral. If elected parliamentarian, I really hope to continue the work that I've been doing. I really tried to work with everybody in the Senate and try to make new and creative outreach events that people are thinking of, and I will continue to do that if reelected, and I really hope to, because a lot of you have given me really great ideas just by letting you kind of do what you want and be out there and connect with constituents. So I thank you all for that. I also really hope to continue the kind of overarching outreach event that Parker and I were kind of working on a little bit toward the end of the last semester for the multi-group sort of, or the multi-organization outreach event. I think that's a really good idea, and I think that inherently we need to connect other groups to kind of get our name out there. But I guess long story short of it, I see this as an opportunity to connect to the Senate and make sure that everybody feels heard and valued, and I want everybody to be able to do the best that they can to help their constituents. I also don't think that anything that I should require should be a chore to you or should feel that way. I think it should feel interesting. I think it should feel like, hey, I'm going out to talk to a friend, or I'm going to talk to someone I haven't talked to before about something that I really don't know all that much about. I think that's really interesting, and I think it's really fun. So I think that I hope to continue the work that I've been doing, and I want to be even more open and get more outreach so that people can have ideas even in the future for what they have to do. Thank you for your time.
To the buzzer, just makes it easier to reset. Thank you, folks. With that, we will move into a 3 minutes for you to tell us a little bit about why you want to be the next parliamentarian of the Whitewater student government. Your time will begin when you begin speaking.
Thank you. I am Jordan Purnell. I'm running for parliamentarian. I believe that I would be a great parliamentarian. The job of parliamentarian is one that is twofold. It is one that is, yes, to see over the outreach events, but it is also a job for parliamentary procedure. Let's talk about the overseeing of outreach first, because that is the more fun and more exciting part of the job. I think the work that our previous parliamentarian Reberg has done has been great. The changes that he has done have been fantastic in expanding the definition and flexibility of outreach events. My only criticism of this work that he has done is that he hasn't gone far enough. What I would do is I would expand the flexibility in the work that you can do as a senator. I believe that there is no reason why, if you were to sit out in the UC for 3 hours, that you couldn't sit and do all 3 outreach events in one sitting in one day. This is a restriction that I would remove right away as parliamentarian. I would remove restrictions that stop you from doing the same outreach event over and over again, because I feel that those types of restrictions are unnecessary. But moving on to the parliamentary procedure part of the job is, this is where I feel I truly excel. I spent my time over the semester, over the winter break, reading through the entirety of the Robert's Rules of Order and Brief. I read the whole book cover to cover, and I intend to make a detailed study guide for all chairs and vice chairs, clerks and secretaries, and all members, all individualized for each position, based off of the Robert's Rules of Order, which I also intend to read in full once elected. While reading the rules in brief, I took into consideration some rules that I noticed we weren't following, and I wrote them down, and I thought to myself, okay, why aren't we following these? And these are further rules that I intend to follow up on and look into as parliamentarian.
That is time. Thank you both very much. With that, we will move into an unlimited questioning period. So please ask your questions, but before you do, I have one. Imagine yourself sitting 2 seats from the Speaker of the Senate, and a discussion breaks out on the floor about an interpretation of a controversial part of our standing rules. You notice that the Speaker is handling it incorrectly. How do you relay to the Speaker and to the body that we might need to change course? And we will start in reverse order of the way you spoke. So, Senator Purnell, you go first.
Sure. I might start by just leaning over and saying, hey, I don't think that this is the correct interpretation. If the speaker is not listening, I might protest the breach of rules by issuing a point of order, which would be the Robert's Rules of Order protest of rules. In which case the speaker would then have the authority of saying, yes, this is a breach of rules, or no. In which case, if the speaker says, no, I'm not breaking the rules, I would be able to, if I feel the breach of rules is particularly egregious, issue an appeal, which would require a 2/3 vote of the Senate in the affirmation to overturn the rule of the Speaker. Otherwise, it would continue as the Speaker has ruled.
Thank you very much. Senator Reader?
I mean, I think Senator Purnell said it absolutely perfectly. You go through the motions, and then at the end of the day, it's really the Speaker's call, and then you have to either overturn by 2/3, or you can kind of keep it as it is and work with them after and try to say, hey, I really don't think that rule was done in the right way, and we really need to work on this in future cases, because you really can't be doing that. I mean, open meeting laws are a really big deal, and you can't be violating rules in open meetings. I also think the only thing that I would add is just that to keep the most tact about it, but I'm assuming that Jordan would have also done that, so I don't think there really is anything to add. I think you said it well.
Thank you both. Any other questions? Senator Gila?
Why do you think that you are the best candidate for this role?
We'll go in reverse order this time, so you're welcome to go.
Okay, so why do I think I'm the best person for this role? I think that as a history student, I'm really, really used to delving into really deep texts that are hard to read and are really unapproachable. It's not really what normal people do. And I also think that I kind of have a rules background already. I went to law school. I'm really good with rules. That's kind of just who I am. I also have a lot of prior experience dealing with policy and guidelines through SUFAC. We have to follow strict policies there. And also, at the same point, I have a lot of practice with viewpoint neutrality, being very neutral with everything. I don't really see any real reason to step on anybody's views or what they think. I think I'm a pretty impartial person off the bat. And I think just generally, I care about it a lot. And I think I did a really good job last time. I talked to a lot of people who seemed happy. I hope they were happy. I care whether they were happy or not, but I think that's why I'm the best.
I would echo all of that. I do truly care about all of this. I, again, have read through the entirety of Robert's Rules of Order in brief, so I know the rules of order and parliamentary procedure. And I do believe that that is a major part of being a parliamentarian is parliamentary procedure and knowing the parliamentary procedure. I also believe that a huge part of outreach events and developing them is to work with senators and get feedback from them. And what I did after my first bid for parliamentarian was I went to almost every senator and I asked, hey, what can I do to better myself to stand out and help me to be better and get a better bid at parliamentarian. And I worked towards those goals in talking to people and making myself more approachable. And I hope that being more active in conversation and things like that allow people to see me as someone who's willing to make changes and willing to work with senators.
Any other questions? Senator Morton? What advice would you give to the next generation of freshmen or whoever is coming in high school to be a good student here in Whitewater?
Senator Purnell, you want to start?
I would say get out of your comfort zone. My freshman year, I barely left my dorm and I hung out with only my high school friends and I didn't go to class and I didn't do anything and I had a very rough time. And once I started actually leaving and going to different orgs and making new friends, it really helped me to start a new life and just make friends and talk to people and really just be personable.
Yes, I would say to incoming freshmen to be successful, I think I would probably say take care of yourself. I think a lot of people forget about that. You get further and further into the semester and your mental health starts to get worse and worse and you're kind of doing more and more assignments and you're bogged down even more. And I think a lot of people, especially people who are just kind of leaving home for the first time, forget that. And they forget that you have to stop and really take care of yourself and really make sure that you're feeling okay on the inside, because really nothing else matters if you're not feeling good and okay and like you're yourself. Your school's not gonna go well. And obviously I echo what Jordan said, you need to get out of your comfort zone in college. It's a place to get out of your comfort zone. It's super fun. And once you meet people, then you learn that nobody really cares all that much about your mistakes or anything. So.
Bring up such an you speak of maturities.
there's not a lot of time after election and before you take the oath, right, same meeting, same day, to kind of like prepare for the role. So what have you already done to prepare you for this role?
Well, to begin, I've read Robert's Rules of Order. That's the first thing. I've also read the Wisconsin Open Meetings Law. I've also read the standing rules for WSG and the Constitution. It has been a lot of reading. Additionally, I've talked to a lot of senators, seen what they want from this role, what they want from me, and talked to a lot of constituents about what they want from WSG in general.
So I have obviously done a little bit of reading as well. I've done a little bit of reading of Robert's Rules of Order and Brief. I won't say that I read it cover to cover, but I'm fairly antiquated and I understand how to get where I need to go to find out what it is, or find out what I need to know. I have a lot of the outreach and stuff already done from last semester, which obviously I would be willing to pass off to other people. It's not like I'm gonna destroy it or anything, but at the same time, I already have that already made, so that helps. And I also did talk to a lot of senators at the end of last semester to see if there was anything that I could have done better or kind of change to make my stay as parliamentarian a little better for them. And a lot of people didn't tell me much. And I also want to make it expressly clear that I didn't just ask people in this room who are going to vote for me in the future. I asked everybody. And I asked a lot of people who weren't in this room, and a lot of them gave me either good feedback or said, you're doing a great job. And I really, really appreciate that. So I think just feedback, a little reading, and kind of using my documents from before.
Director Rose?
Sorry, this is kind of a long question. I was sitting there thinking about it for a minute. But how do you handle conflict resolution, and do you feel that it is positive for the retention of the Senate and helping them grow as leaders?
Senator Ricker, you can start.
So I guess I am not a real lay down the hammer kind of person. I never really have been. I've never really kind of gone crazy and really push people to do anything. In conflict, I'm usually the one that's kind of more wants everybody else to have their way, even if I get the short end of the stick. And I think that sometimes it works better for Senate retention. It doesn't always work the best for me. I feel that my approach to conflict, particularly in the parliamentarian role, which is when people break rules or do anything like that, I always take it as you didn't know that you broke a rule and you need to be educated first. And then once you've been educated and once you know that you're breaking a rule, then we can maybe have a chat if you continually break the rule and things like that. But even things like that, this role is not a punitive role. This role shouldn't be one where there is a lot of conflict. It really should be more of I'm working with the person who I have a minor disagreement with and I need to work with. It really, in my mind, it shouldn't ever get to the point where it's a giant thing.
I'm the type of person that usually gives someone the benefit of the doubt. That's my go-to. And that is how I will usually handle conflict is give someone the benefit of the doubt to begin with, and look at the situation from a very factual point of view and sort of hammer out the details and approach the situation with very nuts and bolts sort of approach and figure it out that way before really working on the emotional aspect of it. If that makes sense.
Any other questions? We'll go from the gallery.
Just one part of being parliamentarian is, as both of you have artfully said, enforcing the rules. I'm just had a tricky one. What do you do when if let's say you've read the rules, you know the rules, and the entire body has been operating under a wrong assumption of rules for a longer period of time, or they're operating on it, and it's like, but everyone else agrees on it. Would you bring it up, or how would you approach that scenario?
Yeah, so I actually have, in reading Robert's rules, have noticed a couple of things that we have been doing wrong. And my intent is to bring it up with the speaker and the president a little bit later, have a conversation with them, ask them, hey, why are we doing it this way? And seeing if we can write into a special rules of order, create a separate document called the Special Rules of Order, which are kind of like Robert's rules, but a little bit like the next level up, and have our own separate rules to go alongside it. If that makes sense.
So, I mean, I think that when you have an organization-wide thing that everybody's been following, that a lot of people, I mean, this happened last semester, and we didn't know that we were doing something wrong that was like very odd. It was a law, and we were like, I mean, but we corrected it, and you kind of go about it in the way where you correct it. You make sure all the parties are known and on the same page, and hopefully everybody's in agreement with following the rules. And it can be, unfortunately, some of those things are tricky, considering we follow so many different kinds of rules. It can tend to get tricky, and sometimes things get lost in the weeds, and people do wrong things. So I think it's always just that assumption of they don't know that they're doing it wrong. Let's educate them. You educate, like Jordan said, you educate the speaker, the president first, but then obviously you work with them to disseminate that out to the rest of the Senate and make sure that everybody's following the rules correctly.
I have one real quick, unless it's an immediate follow-up.
No, it's not a follow-up.
I was really debating whether or not to do this, and I would like to say to the Senate, if someone's like running for a Senate position, never do what I'm about to do. I just think it's valuable in particular for this position because knowledge of the rules and our standing rules and our governing documents are so important. So what is Section 8 of the standing rules? And we'll start with Senator.
Section 8 would be I believe Senate.
Okay. Senator Reaver?
No.
All righty. I mean, I could give you, it's committees. But I'm going to be pressed. Any other questions? Deputy Speaker Patricus, is this a placard?
Yes.
Okay, Deputy Speaker Patricus.
Even when acting in good faith, a parliamentarian can unintentionally influence outcomes by applying rules unevenly or giving more advice to some than others. What safeguards, or how would you ensure your advice remains consistent and impartial to prevent that?
Senator Reaver.
Okay. I guess I would ensure that, I would ensure that I would never going up and steering people to do things in a certain way. I guess I would never, or I guess maybe with knowledge of like the rules, I would say, hey, this rule isn't really being followed and it needs to be followed in this way, but I would never attempt to change somebody's actual opinion about voting and things like actual quantitative things. I think that's wrong. I also just would make sure to spend enough time with everybody and ensure that if anybody comes to me for help, that they were always getting the same amount of help and a good quality of help, so they weren't getting kind of different levels of help.
Can you restate the question?
Yeah. Even when acting in good faith, a parliamentarian can unintentionally influence outcomes through how rules are applied, or through applying rules unevenly, or giving more advice to some than others. What safeguards would you put in place, and how would you ensure your advice remains consistent and impartial to prevent that?
It's a really difficult question.
I'm sorry, I went for both of you on the spot here.
Because it's one that you can't really know. You don't know when you're applying things differently. However, you can know when you're being held accountable. And I think that's where I would be best is by if someone approaches me and says, "Hey, you are not holding these rules, applying these rules evenly, or giving even advice, equal advice, by doing some introspection and kind of looking at myself and saying, am I really not doing this, and kind of adjusting myself to help course correct that situation."
Wonderful. Any other questions? We'll take the one from the gallery there.
I'll keep it short again. With the parliamentarian, as it's been described, you may say a little and your impact will be a lot. In the spirit of that, I was wondering if you could give me your view of what you would do with the office in 10 words or less.
Senator Reberg, you can start, I think. Is that for Purnell? Senator Purnell.
Keeping Senate organized. Yep. You got it.
Make outreach more simple and make everyone feel comfortable.
All right, wonderful. Any other questions? Going once? Going twice? See none, wonderful. With that, we will move into a roll call vote. For this, if we can have, if we can't, that's okay. It's Reberg and Purnell. Does everybody know generally how to say Reberg and Purnell? Okay?
When my name is called, what are they asking me to say?
So when the clerk calls your name, you have the options of saying Reberg, Purnell, nay, pass, or abstain. What those mean is Reberg means a vote for Reberg, Purnell means a vote for Purnell, nay means a vote for neither candidate, and abstain means I might have monetary incentive in this election, so I choose to abstain. And pass means I would like you to circle back to me, please, Honorable Madam Clerk. Everybody got it? Okay, wonderful. With that, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Senator Lang,
Pass.
Senator Marty,
Purnell.
Senator Patricus,
Pass.
Senator Purnell,
Purnell.
Senator Reberg,
Reberg.
Senator Reyes,
Pass.
Senator Schrocknagel,
Reberg.
Senator Vanderhyde,
Reberg.
Senator Wheaton,
Reberg.
Senator Geelig,
Reberg.
Senator Hernandez,
Purnell.
Senator Lang,
Purnell.
Senator Patricus,
Reberg.
Senator Reyes,
Purnell.
Speaker Wilson,
Purnell. Okay, we have a tie of 6-6. So we're going to do a roll election. Oh, Senate leadership votes to break ties. Okay. No. Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll of Senate leadership, please.
Senator Patricus,
Pass.
Speaker Wilson,
Purnell.
Senator Patricus,
Seeing as there's really not much of a difference I have in this, Reberg.
We have another tie in Senate leadership.
And seeing as a tie of Senate leadership has occurred, the person in control of the gavel makes the final decision.
Purnell. In the most contentious election I've ever seen in WSG history. Congratulations, Senator Purnell, Senator Parliamentarian-elect Purnell. Please join me up front for your oath of office. Given you have been elected by the Senate, the Whitewater student government to serve as its parliamentarian, understanding that you have been chosen to perform such an active and important role, do you accept the position of senator and all the responsibilities, duties, and privileges that it will include? If so, say, "I will to the best of my ability."
I will to the best of my ability.
Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Jordan Purnell,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to fulfill the obligations and responsibilities of my office,
to fulfill the obligations and responsibilities of my office,
to be knowledgeable of
to be knowledgeable of
and uphold the WSG Constitution,
and uphold the WSG Constitution,
the WSG standing rules,
WSG standing rules,
and university policies,
and university policies,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, it is my pleasure to introduce you to the newest parliamentarian of the 38th Senate of the Whitewater Student Government, Jordan Purnell. Alrighty, with that, we will move on to item D, the appointment of 2 Drumlin District seats. If you're interested in running for a Drumlin District seat, please stand now. Going once, going twice, seeing none. I forgot what I kind of said last semester. Isn't that crazy? If you're interested in running for the appointment of 4 of our ESPER District seats, please stand now. Going once, going twice, seeing none. Moving on to the appointment of 7 off-campus district seats. There it is. Going once, going twice. There we go. If you would, please join us up front. We will we'll set a timer, and you can tell us a little bit about why you'd like to be the next off-campus center of the Whitewater Student Government. Your time begins when you begin to speak. It's a 3-minute timer. By the way.
All right, hello everyone, my name is Courtney Majors. I use they, them pronouns. People have described me as kind and real flexible. I am a bioeducation major with a theater education minor. I transferred here exactly 1 year ago now from Alverno College in Milwaukee. I have fallen in love with Whitewater though. I have had the opportunity, many opportunities to grow and to love this campus through WSG as my appointment last year. And also while working here at the University Center. Now, why am I talking about myself? I wanted to highlight that like so many of our students here, we have many backgrounds, we come with our own background and our own stories. By being an off-campus senator, I hope to represent a fraction of those students' backgrounds and stories. I hope to bring a new perspective to any committee I sit on so that all voices and concerns are addressed. I hope that you would allow me the opportunity to just be here and be that voice for these students. And I would love this opportunity to be one of your off-campus senators.
Wonderful, thank you so much. With that, we'll move into questions. Any questions? Senator Mark.
How do you reach your fellow constituents who are off campus? Because this is a broad question. I usually communicate to my fellow students when they're in the dining halls or around the campus floor. And how do you make sure you can communicate to the people who are off campus and when they go into a class then leave after the class or like that?
Yeah, so that is one of the challenges of the position of an off-campus senator. Some of the ways I found to work around this is talking to the students in my classes, not only that, but also talking to many of our people in our offices with SAI. We have a lot of connections that I've been grateful to be able to use to contact my constituents that do live off campus. As an off-campus senator, it is quite difficult. However, if you do put the effort in, you tend to find those connections and those channels to go down to contact those people.
Follow-up question, what is the effort that would require for that?
So because there are so many locations that students live off campus, not just off campus here in Whitewater, but in locations like Fort Atkinson, Janesville, some of it are, we also have commuters from Illinois as well that commute here to Whitewater for classes. So some of the efforts are just talking. So you have to go out of your way to talk to students in the hallways, in the dining halls. Here in the University Center is a great place because this is where a lot of off-campus students will communicate between classes. If they have like an hour break, they will come here to study a bit, meet some of their other students. So using the space here with our Connection Center and various other locations here in the University Center is a really good place to start.
Any other questions going once? From the gal?
How would you think, or let me ask kind of two questions, they'll kind of merge into one. You have a unique perspective you bring. I would, one, if you could elaborate on your perspective, and how would you being in the body that isn't present, how would you improve that in more of like a specific way? Like everyone improves it by being here, but what specific abilities or perspectives or things would you bring to the table that might be lacking or, so on?
Yeah, of course. So as mentioned, I'm a transfer student. Alverno College is a small liberal arts school located in Milwaukee. I transferred here because of the fact that my program at Alverno College was cut. So I had a lot of that experience where I wasn't sure what was going to happen with my degree that a lot of students might have as well. As a transfer, our transfer students here often see a lack of connection between them and their places on campus. I was one of these students for a long time too before our lovely past advisor Dan Bilgan brought me into this program here. So I was able to make these connections that a lot of our transfer students lack because of the fact that they don't feel the connection that they did with perhaps their original school that they transferred in from. Does that answer your question, sir?
Any other questions? Going once? Going twice? See none? Wonderful. With that, we will move on. Okay. Darn, I was supposed to remember to do this before we got into appointments. As I consult with our brand new parliamentarian, if I'm out of order in doing this. As the Speaker of the 37th Senate, that Senate voted to always do secret ballot elections for Senate appointments. This Senate has not voted to do that. So we can either move into on a roll call vote on appointments, or we can, I guess I won't make the motion because I don't believe in it, but I would entertain a motion to the body if they would like to do appointments by secret ballot. Otherwise, by state law, I think given what we saw last year, we should be doing them. President Bradley, if you have any-
Yeah, the only thing I'd add is the secret ballots would look different if it were to be a sheet of paper with no identifying name on it that is not recorded and discarded after a meeting. That would be illegal according to the state of Wisconsin. So if you can either do a roll call vote, or the clerk has slips of paper that you would write your vote, but you also must include your name. That would be considered public record. It wouldn't be sent out in minutes, but should somebody submit an open records request, your name must be tied to that vote, as you are a publicly elected official. This was the issue, and if that Senator Reberg brought up earlier, that there was an issue that was brought up last year that we pivoted on.
Yeah, so, I mean, we have those sheets, we're ready to do it that way. But I guess I'm entertaining a motion if anyone would like to make it to do secret ballot elections for appointments. Going once? Going twice?
A question?
Yeah.
Could the Senate move at any point to do a secret ballot for a specific election?
Yes, at any point, the Senate can decide that they'd like to use the secret ballot method of voting. They'll just have to record your name on the sheets that the clerk has. But if that motion is not being entertained, I don't know if you're curious.
I entertain that motion.
Okay, looking for a second.
Second.
The second by Senator Drunknow. With that, we will move into a roll call vote on whether or not we will conduct, and the way I phrased my motion that was then entertained is whether or not all appointment elections for Senate seats will be held by secret ballot for the remainder of the semester. Madam Clerk, when you're ready, would you please call the roll?
Senator Marty,
Nay.
Senator Petrikis,
Yes.
Senator Purnell,
Nay.
Senator Reberg,
Aye.
Senator Reyes,
Nay.
Senator Schrockhandel,
Nay.
Senator Vanderhyde,
Aye.
Senator Wheaton,
Nay.
Senator Geelig,
Aye.
Senator Hernandez,
Nay.
Senator Lang,
Nay.
Senator Petrikis,
Nay.
Speaker Wilson.
No. And with that, the motion failed, so we will move into a roll call vote on the appointment of an off-campus district senator. A vote of aye will be a vote in favor of the candidate, a vote of nay will be a vote against. Madam Clerk, when you're ready, please call the roll.
Senator Petrikis,
Aye.
Senator Purnell,
Aye.
Senator Reberg, Senator Reyes,
Aye.
Senator Schrockhandel,
Aye.
Senator Vanderhyde,
Aye.
Senator Wheaton,
Aye.
Senator Geelig,
Aye.
Senator Hernandez,
Aye.
Senator Lang,
Aye.
Senator Marty,
Aye.
Speaker Wilson.
Aye. And with that, congratulations to Courtney Majors. You know the process, but you're willing to come chat with me after the meeting if you'd like a refresher. We'll get you everything you need. You kind of have everything you need, but if you'd still like to chat about it, you're more than welcome to come chat. With that, we'll move on to the approval of the agenda in minutes. We're going to move slightly out of order. We're going to go to the agenda for January 26, 2026. And I do have a quick motion I'd like to make, which is to strike item A from the approval of the agenda in minutes. Minutes from December 5th, 2025. I would just ask unanimous consent to do that. Any objection? For once, or twice. Seeing none, with that, item A, approval of the agenda in minutes has been struck. So we'll move on to agenda for January 26, 2026 approval. Make the motion approved. President Bradley.
I'd like to entertain a motion to strike item 4 on the agenda, roll call, as the acting chair earlier forgot to call roll.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll entertain the motion and ask for unanimous consent for the body to strike 4, which is roll call. Any objections? Going once, going twice, seeing none. Roll call's been struck from the agenda. With that, we are back on to
Have information?
sure.
Should it be stricken from the agenda or from the minutes?
We're on the agenda. I mean, from the agenda.
Should it be stricken from the agenda?
parliamentarian.
Is there no reason we can't just take roll now?
Or not,
I guess there's no reason we can just take roll now.
Like, we have roll for it.
Sure, we can take roll for the minutes. We should probably overturn the decision we just made as a body. So, I'm gonna make a motion to overturn the decision we made to strike roll call from the agenda. I'm so sorry, Madam Clerk, for this. Looking for a second.
Second.
Seconded by parliamentarian Purnell. With that, we'll move into a roll call vote. With that, we'll move into a roll call vote on overturning the decision of the Senate to strike the roll call vote. Madam Clerk, when you're ready, would you please call the roll?
Senator Healy,
Aye.
Senator Hernandez,
Aye.
Senator Lang,
Aye.
Senator Marty.
Pass. I mean, what are we voting, sorry, what are we voting for
You can say here or present. if you're-
Oh, present. This is to overturn.
Oh, I'm sorry. You said, I thought you said roll.
I did say call.
I'm sorry, okay, Senator Marty,
Nay.
Senator Patrigues,
Aye.
Senator Purnell,
Aye.
Senator Reber, Senator Reyes,
Aye.
Senator Schrockhoffel.
Aye.
Senator Vanderhyde,
Aye.
Senator Wheatman,
Aye.
Speaker Wilson.
Aye. Alrighty, a vote of 10-1. Roll call has been, the motion to strike the roll call has been overturned. Decision to strike the roll call has been overturned. Thus, we'll move out of order and call the roll. Madam Clerk, when you're ready, would you please call the roll?
Senator Healy,
Present.
Senator Hernandez,
Present.
Senator Lang,
Present.
Senator Marty,
Present.
Senator Patrigues,
Present.
Senator Purnell,
Present.
Senator Reber,
Present.
Senator Reyes,
Present.
Senator Schrockhoffel,
Present.
Senator Vanderhyde,
Present.
Senator Wheatman,
Present.
Speaker Wilson.
Present. Wonderful. With that, we'll move to the approval of the agenda for January 26, 2026. Can I get a motion to approve? Senator Reyes.
Motion to approve.
Seconded by Senator Wheatman. Can I get a voice vote?
Acclamation.
Any opposed? Going once, going twice, seeing none. With that, the agenda for January 26, 2026 special session has been approved unanimously. So we're on unfinished business. We don't have any, so we're on to new business. Item A, S252605, the Election Modernization Act of 2026. Submitters, you're both welcome to join the podium. And if whoever is driving up there can get the legislation pulled up, we're into the introduction.
Sure. We didn't plan how we're gonna do this, probably should. Our election rules, if you've ever ran in an election for student government, and seeing as you're in this room, you probably have, need a little work, I'm sure you're aware. This is our attempt to at least start trying to do that. The whole reason we're having a special session today is because the last day we can change the standing rules to take effect for the executive election coming up this semester. It will be February 2nd, also known as a week from now. So yeah, but this is our start to wanting to improve our election rules, make them work better for us. We started with Section 8 committees and advisory councils, actually. Just kind of fixes what the elections committee consists of, what it looks like, right? So it is the executive board and president, vice president in normal circumstances. If any one of those is running in an election, none of them are eligible to be on the elections committee, and it's made up of people the speaker appoints. Should the speaker be running in that election, they should not be able to build their own elections committee. So then it goes on the speaker's line of succession, so to the deputy speaker, to the parliamentarian, and so forth. And then The chair doesn't count towards quorum for vote unless it's break a tie. That was a request from our lovely clerk. Yeah, so that's what it looks like. That's what it would look like. You might this one might help a lot of you. Addresses on signature forms are not required to include a room number. Resident hall's addresses on signature forms may list either the hall name or the mailing address and do not need to include a room number. Right? So there's yellow is to add, red is to strike through or remove. If you got signatures and you turned them in and you did not get verified because let's say someone put 951 Starin Road instead of Pulliam Hall, and that address or that signature was not valid because it did not include the room number. This fixes that. As someone who collected 100 signatures for the last election, this makes me very happy. Cuts to the disqualification part, and if you scroll, and the violation section, we'll get to that a little bit. This is just being moved with the addition of the signature thing, so that's why it's there. Violations and disqualification, because we're combining them. This is probably the biggest change in the bill, but I will try to walk you through it here. So this section, currently we have 4 degrees of violation. Each one is different points, 1 through 4, but degree 1 is 4 points, degree 2 is 2 3 points, right, so forth and so on. And then each specific part of the standing rules, there's a long list of what is 4 points, what is 3 points, what is 2 points, what is 1 point. It's really complicated, and I think I only barely understand it. This is my hope at fixing it. So this implies 3 degrees, right? And then it gives the elections committee the purview to determine what degree each violation is. So it can consider context, intent, frequency, and impact in classifying a violation, but it has to be consistent across all candidates and slates. Right? And the assessment of violation needs to be reported in a simple majority of the elections committee. Degree C is low level or technical violations resulting from negligence, inexperience, or miscommunication rather than malicious intent. Small thing, there are examples here done. Penalty is 2 points towards disqualification. Degree B are intentional or repeated violations of the election rules that provide an unfair advantage or interfere with the other candidates or slate's ability to campaign. And then there are examples. And then a penalty is 4 points. Degree A is something that fundamentally compromises the integrity, legality, or legitimacy of an election. And the penalty is on immediate disqualification and referral to the dean of students when applicable, right? So like falsification of election papers is not something you really have to go to the dean of students for, that's internal, but violation of law is something you probably should, right? Degree A, you don't get points, or degree, yeah, you don't get points, but it's just immediate disqualification. Any student can submit an election violation of these election rules to the chair of the election committee via a violations box outside the WSG office. If you haven't seen it, do this big physical box with a lock on it that we stick out during election season. Or in writing via email. And then the elections committee has to meet within a reasonable time. Currently, it's 2 days, which is not a lot of time to get a quorum of 6 people together and find a place to meet and do all of that stuff. Hearings have to comply with open meeting laws. Candidates must attend hearings or you forfeit the right to present the case. And then the chair of the elections committee has to notify candidates and slates in writing. Accumulation of 10 points triggers a vote of the elections committee to disqualify, requiring a 2/3 majority. Accumulating 12 points lowers the voting threshold to a simple majority. This is our currently what we use, so it's not changing that. A candidate or slate. It's 15, so it's lowering a little bit. Candidate or slate may not receive points multiple times for the same violation unless it occurs on more than one occasion, and these occasions must be separated by at least 24 hours notice. And if a single incident violates multiple rules, only the most specific rule shall apply. These are fun. I really like these rules because 3 years ago, fun fact about me is someone accused me of 24 points of violations in an election. So I dropped it down to 6. So because of these, I'm a big fan of these clauses. Disqualification decisions may be appealed to the Senate under these standing rules. The chair of the elections committee must notify candidates and sites of the reason for disqualification. If you're disqualified, you should be notified, right? And then any campaign materials found inside the WSG office, near the mailboxes, or WSG meetings may be confiscated and destroyed by a member of the elections committee or neutral party. The neutral parties are the advisor, president, vice president, speaker of the Senate, unless any of them are running in that election. And the clerk. Are you listed as explicitly? Yes, sir. Okay. And then, who are then required to submit a violation, right? 11.8.8.9 does not exist in our current standing rules, so I don't know why it's still there, but that's fine. We will jump back to contingency. You scroll. Appeal process, this is our current appeal process. The thing I'll point to is C. If the Senate votes to overturn a decision of the elections committee, it goes to a contingency election. I've been around student government for a while. I've seen 3 decisions of the elections committee being appealed. I've seen 0 contingency elections. So that's fun. Appeal process, the new one. Decisions of the elections committee or its chair may be appealed to the Senate. Appeals must be submitted to the Speaker of the Senate, Deputy Speaker of the Senate, and Clerk, containing the appeal letter, documentation, and evidence for the Senate to hear at the next meeting. The Speaker of the Senate must include this on the agenda for the next regularly scheduled Senate meeting. All materials for appeal must be submitted, and no additional materials may be used. All right. Appeals are due to the Speaker of the Senate 36 hours after the conclusion of the Elections Committee meeting where the decision being appealed was made. Appeals may only be filed if the Elections Committee failed to follow the Constitution or the standing rules, established procedure, or acted outside the scope of its authority. And then 2/3 majority vote of the Senate. Going back up, contingency election. This was added because, right here, this mention, C, is the only mention of a contingency election in our standing rules. And we've never done it, at least in my time. So, what does a contingency election look like? When is it triggered? This is what would happen. So a contingency election will be triggered if, in a Senate election, 15% of the total seats are not filled. I think that's 5 out of 27. I don't have the math on that, but the number 27 can change, so I didn't want to have to also make this a thing you have to change if that changes, so 15. Also, if a contingency election will be triggered if, in an executive election, no candidate, either valid or write-in, who receives more than 15 votes, right? You receive more than 15 votes if you don't accept the roll, or all of those candidates are disqualified, right? That's what 50% was chosen, but, and then the third thing is if unofficial election results are not approved by the Senate. So there are 3 ways. That's the gist of the bill.
I just want to add, as some of you may know, I've ran through 2 elections now, and both of them have had some issues, which I'm not fully blaming on our standing rules, but it definitely had something to do with it. Couple of the things that I noticed that changing will make this upcoming election a little easier would be, first off, the disqualification section, as the logo was a disqualifying factor before using it to campaign, and a lot of times that would happen and people did get disqualified, and that's kind of outdated. So we decided to make it a violation instead because it's not like really harming anyone, like breaking a state law might. And then we changed it so
We currently have it, so then, like, if there's a disqualification, the committee must meet within 2 days to hear the violation. We changed it, so then there is now one academic, reasonable time. Must meet within a reasonable time to hear the violation, but we are doing that for, all violations. So then people who are running aren't just sitting and trying to figure out what the outcome of their violation is. Yeah, I'm getting distracted, I gotta look at the screen. Okay. And then, sorry, I didn't think this one through either. So the, as many of you know, the room number thing was an issue last fall. And that should get changed because it should be easier to let people join our organization rather than making it harder, as many people nowadays don't want to give out their room number. The contingency election was another important part for me, just because if there is a position we're put in and we don't have a adequate, I'd say maybe, outcome of an election, this helps confirm what we need for that to be a adequate outcome. And as our constitution currently says that we have 15 days to do another election, in one sentence, and there's really nothing much else on it. I like the part where this part where if a decision of the elections committee is overturned, that part being removed, and I like that because in the past we've had disqualifications happen and them get overturned, but then we don't go into a contingency election because when it was written, it was under the impression that these disqualifications would be happening after the election had already taken place. So this bill is part of a much bigger one, and these were just some of the important parts that were allowed to be put up. And I think it's gonna help with this election, so I'll leave it at that, I guess.
I would say the reason you're seeing this now and not later is 11.16 of our standing rules amendments, which I'll just read. Section 11 of these standing rules may not be changed or deleted once election papers, forms, and rules have been made available to candidates. So during an election cycle between approval of the results and when a packets are available, we can't change these. So if you know anything about WSG elections, that's most of the semester. So that leaves the few weeks at the beginning, and the few weeks at the end of the semester, where there's also usually a lot of other things happening, right? Like elections or end of semester celebrations or, finals week, right? Things happen. So there's like a narrow window where we can change these rules. That's why you're seeing this now. And also why I suspect it is in need of fixing.
Wonderful. With that, we will move into clerical edits. Content changes?
Yep.
You sure about that?
Positive.
Content changes it is, but now we'll move to content changes. Any content change?
Can I get asked a clerical?
We are not currently in
Oh,
content
no, I mean,
or question.
Is it a question about a possible content change?
yes. Section 11, 1.4, E, any state or candidate seeking an executive position must obtain 200 signatures.
Yep.
50 must come from Esker district.
Yep.
So I'm wondering about the 25 additional signatures from off campus. How do you know that a person will be off campus or will be a part of Whitewater?
I'll just say E is our current standing rules. We're not looking to change that today. But to answer your question, we verify, we kind of just trust people, right? We also we can check if they're students, right? And if you're a student and you don't live on campus, you can only live off campus, right? so. But we're not, anything you see that's black, black text on white is our current standing rules, and we're not looking to change. This is just in context, trying to show you where it fits in.
Looking for clericlets, any clericlets, going once? Content changes, I'm so sorry, any content changes?
There's nothing.
Uh,
It's not changed.
We don't start with questions?
It has before every bill I ask.
I feel like you should have. Maybe consult the new
It's never questions first, it's always questions last, I know that. But I switch content clerical somewhat frequently. Anyways, content changes,
Oh, well, I had a question.
You gotta do that.
No.
content changes, any content change.
What's the question about?
It was about whether the bill touched something or not, but it's all right.
We've been trying to get. Okay, any content changes? President Bradley?
I would like to entertain a motion. I was gonna ask a question about it, but I just think it would be out of order. I would like to entertain a motion to strike what is proposed as 11.9 violation and disqualification.
I assume you also intend to strike 11.5 and 8 from this bill, the R House, also strike.
Yeah.
Going once? Going twice? See none? Wonderful. Any other content changes going once? Going twice?
Or one.
Semitic?
Actually, I have two.
Okay.
The first one is,
I'm gonna accept. Are they friendly?
I will hope.
Okay. There are two submitters.
The first one is to add in this space right here, neutral parties as observers. That word, or those 4 words. Neutral parties as observers. Right here, between advisor and 1 representative, one for both. That's the first one.
Friendly?
Great. The other one is under D here of 1113 D. We will want to do one of these where it's indented over. All appeals will be heard by the Senate.
Friendly? Okay, so both of those will be perceived as friendly as they're, both of the submitters are okay with them being friendly. Wonderful. Any other content changes? Any objections to that being friendly? For once, or twice? See none. Any other content changes? For once, or twice? See none. Wonderful. With that one, clerklets. Any clerklets?
There's 2 titles here that need to be updated. Right in the third whereas, it says the president and the vice president. You can cut those. I will get these to the clerk. If we can, right here, cut if applicable, so it just ends at room number.
Okay.
In the degree A section, change verification to assessment.
Okay.
And then cut the needing a second person to be a witness, so just ends after email. And then change within a reasonable time to within 1 academic week. And contingency election here. Put winning right between no and candidate. And I'll listen to this all over here.
Okay, that'll be friendly as long as there's no objections. Going once, going twice. Seeing none, wonderful. So moved. With that, we will, any other clerklets? Any other clerklets going once, going twice? Seeing none, wonderful. With that, we're to questions. Any questions? President Brad.
Is it true that if this bill passes next week, it'll take effect on the exact same day that the election begins?
That's the intent.
Any other questions? Senator Marty?
When do I start collecting signatures for e-board? I mean, I mean, to be on the, take for example, to get to a,
If it's not a question relevant to the current piece of legislation,
oh,
you
no.
can circle back and ask the secretary. Senator Lynn?
Is it true that this has already gone before CRC?
It's true. Parliamentarian.
Why was this bill decided to be put forward now?
Both Nick and myself have been working on a bill for like 6 months or so. And we couldn't come to a conclusion last semester on like how we wanted violations formatted and some other spots of it. Then towards the end of the semester, we still did not have it completed, and we worked hard over winter break and completed it. And then from that, we took these parts because we thought they were the most important to go up for the spring, because the executive elections are usually different, and then the like Senate one will be next fall, and these will affect the executive election.
I think executive elections are consequential, pretty consequential, right? And there are things that need to happen, that need to be changed in our standing rules for this executive election to run smoothly, in my opinion. These being that. There's a lot of other election rules I'd like to see changed that are able to wait. So we're not doing a 22-page omnibus bill of a ton of election rules changes right before an executive election. So this is what is essential for this election to happen smoothly, in my opinion. It's a very slimmed down version of a much larger timeline.
I have an uncomfortable follow-up. Is that opinion shared by both submitters? I believe the way it was phrased by submitter Patricus is there are things in the legislation that are required to ensure that the elections run smoothly, in my opinion. I was curious if that is an opinion shared by both submitters.
I also have some like equal opinions about it, maybe not the exact same spots as him, because he's not the one who runs the election, I'm the one who does, but he has ran in the 2 elections that I've held. And so he understands one viewpoint of it, and I understand the other viewpoint.
Okay. Any other questions? Going once. Thank you, Brandon.
What does a contingency election look like? I see it's listed out when it would take effect, but there's no details of what it looks like.
Here, I can show you. Wait, do we have, I made a comment, it's in our constitution. I can read it to you.
There's no comments.
There's no comments in here? Okay, where's the constitution?
If you've ever needed help getting to our website, WSG, second link down.
Not the first link, the second link.
Second link
The
down.
first link will work, but it'll take you to the uw.edu link website, which then is just a link to our actual website. So that's fun.
Some sections. It says, if the results of the general election are declared null by the Senate due to the occurrence of substantial violation of the election rules, a new follow-up election will be held within 15 academic days after the date of the overturned election. So that's our one sentence we have on how to have a contingency election. And as some of you may have seen in the election in the fall, I put it on our calendar just in case we had to use it, and I used the same format as what we currently have. So how many days apart everything is supposed to be, kind of a little altered because we don't have as many days, but. What's that?
Can you highlight it?
Yeah.
I will say the exact process for how a contingency election would run, it is part of our much larger project. We did not, as I've seen 0 contingencies in my time, I'm kind of just hoping that we don't have one. If we have to, we will address it as the need, as need to, right? Cross that bridge when we get there. Hopefully we don't cross that bridge.
I do want to note that also technically, we don't, unless this bill goes through, we don't have a contingency election planned really for an executive election, as this is listed under Senate and it's not listed under executives. And so that if anyone is thinking of constitutional changes, potentially put up some time, and that would be something maybe I'd recommend adding under executives as well.
So you can make the argument that this would not apply to an executive election. Okay.
And neither of our governing documents is the highlighted section specifically referred to as contingency election, or is that implied?
I'd say, isn't a contingency election typically happen when the results are declared null?
It doesn't specifically say contingency election, but if they're declared null by, let's say the unofficial election results go to the Senate and they're not approved, right? So if unofficial election results are not approved by the Senate, contingency election would happen, which is what declared null would be. Yes, but also no.
In the interest of curiosity, why do you ask?
I don't think it's as clear as it can be that that's what a contingency election means. We don't refer to a contingency election anywhere else and what that process looks like. We have a process that talks about failed general elections. We don't talk about that. We don't use the term general election. Also, that's only for if null by the Senate, and the bill I see before me has other reasons why a contingency election could be used.
I'd say in the past, we typically refer the contingency election to this line of the standard rules. Constitution.
Do you have another question, President Bradley?
Yeah. For both the submitters, can you describe to me why, I forget what section it is, the new violations and disqualification is so pertinent to be put up now rather than wait and be with the larger bill that will take effect for the fall election?
Would you like me to be candid?
I want you to answer honestly, yeah.
Okay. In discussing this bill with President Bradley, a concern I had was fixing this so that if you, say, wear the WSG logo or hold a piece of paper with the WSG logo on it and then repost that on your campaign Instagram, that's not an immediately disqualifying violation. In wanting to fix that, President Bradley offered, why don't we just do the whole violation section? And I was like, okay. Of which this violation section is I'm a very big fan of. But.
You asked it until submitted. President Bradley?
I suppose it's not supposed to be a trick question, but is it true that since that conversation I've expressed to you that that was a mistake I had made and even tried to have it removed by the Senate because I thought it was a grave error?
That is true. You've expressed that. You've also expressed that you think there is nothing wrong with it content-wise and you're a fan of it content-wise. It's just more of a timing concern of yours. I don't want to misattribute.
I think we're slightly germane right now.
Can I respond to that?
No.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
Wait,
As long as it's not slightly germane.
Okay, anyways, I just want to add that I think that it's a good thing to go up now because I know timing is a concern for some folks because of the executive election, but the executive election and Senate election are two different ones, and they're both going to have their own rules that we need to follow. And having this stuff up now gives us a chance to, like, if we hadn't catch anything and put it up in the fall, so then when the next group of people come on by, they have a little more set in stone version of the
Section 11 of the standing rules for both the executive and Senate election. It'll be the wording that was used to me for this change was a trial run. And so the thing is, but we would have to still either way do a trial run, quote unquote, for both the executive and Senate elections.
So the first election of each one would be testing out new rules, right? It's not, can't really equate testing rules in one election to the other.
Any other questions? Going once, going twice? I'm not seeing any. With that, we are out of new business next week. If this is your first time seeing an S bill be proposed, in our standing rules, legislation that changes any part of our standing rules, or I would say is content heavy, so our bill is a recognizing bill. Any bill that is not recognizing, we take 2 weeks to pass. So we will discuss and vote on this piece of legislation next week. With that, we will move on to announcements. Are there any announcements tonight? President Bradley, you have the first announcement.
Oh, yes! Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As you have all been notified via email, our wonderful advisor of 23 years, Jan Bilgan, retired. So, very sad, but the good news is we have Kim Clarkson filling in as our interim. Kim has had a very busy day, attending our e-board meeting and a Senate meeting that's gone 2 hours. So Kim, thank you very much for agreeing to fill in the role. For those who are not aware, we don't really have a process of selecting an advisor. It has not been done in 23 years. So you will see legislation up next week that kind of outlines what that process looks like so that we can start working on naming a full-time advisor, starting the goal we've given to executive tier leadership at the end of February. All right, so thank you to Kim.
Any other announcements? Advisor Clark? Interim Advisor Clark?
Hi, everyone. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to work with you all. My office is right next to where Jan's office was, and so many of you have seen back in the hallway. If you have questions, if you ever need to talk about anything related to student government or anything else, you can always make an appointment through the front desk, or if my door is open, you're welcome to knock. I have pretty close to open door policy most always. So I want to make sure you know that. And then I also am here on behalf of student activities and involvement to make sure you know about some upcoming really valuable events. So I'm going to leave the quarter sheets at the exit, and I hope you'll take them, even maybe some for members of your organizations and so forth. The first one is Winterfest this Friday. Casino, bingo, food, all kinds of fun stuff. And it fills the whole building with fun. Please join us. Our involvement fair is the 4th of February. Great opportunity to backwards table, meaning as senators, if you're looking for input from your constituents, talking to all of the people at those tables is going to get you somewhere around 120 to 200 students to get some input from what they're looking for, as well as maybe find something fun to do. The WCC has a connection kickoff, which is a great opportunity to get to know students from the student orgs in the Connection Center. That's coming up on February 9th. And then we have our MLK speaker on the 10th of February. Pretty amazing, a great opportunity. There's also opportunity to have more of a conversation with them. It's really a whole series of events surrounding MLK's legacy. So hopefully I will see you all at all of these things, but I'll leave the flyers here for you. Any questions? Yes.
I'm just wondering about, we had a lot of criticisms before the first career fair where we only had business tables go. Is there going to be a broader selection of education majors, public policy administrators, and legal studies majors, not only just accounting? I understand Whitewater is a business school. What was that like?
We're more than a business school.
Yeah.
So this is the involvement fair, so student organizations, not internships and job opportunities.
Right.
But it's very common to hear that, and so that we'll make sure that Career Services indicates what their plans are, and we'll bring that back. I put it in my notes to bring it back to a future meeting.
All right.
All right.
All right. I have an announcement, folks. Given you're all here, That's wonderful. We are happy to see all of the newly elected and oath-taking senators. Look out in your email for a Connect To form. It's going to look very familiar. It's going to say committee interest form. Please fill that out. Hopefully next week on the agenda. It's going to be a little bit of a long one, but we're going to get committee assignments hopefully, approved that night, given your will, with my list. So, Jerry,
I'm gonna work on what outreach events look like. My goal is to have a more definitive definition for that for next week. But I will tell you that the involvement fair is definitely going to be on that list, so you should definitely go to that.
Vice President Reiser. Whoa, look at that.
Hi everyone. So speaking of the involvement fair, I'm helping coordinate that. So if you're interested in tabling, we definitely do need some volunteers for that. It's from 11 to 2. So if you're interested, please come talk to me after as we work on getting that organized. Thank you.
I have one more announcement. I'm so sorry. I normally say this in a report, the meeting I'm elected. I, just like I do every time before I get elected speaker, for political reasons I don't normally mention it before my election, but I have finished the transition binder for the speakership. If anybody has anything that they think is super relevant or was like, gosh, I really wish I ran that speaker election, and if maybe you would have taken the role, what that would look like, let me know and we can make sure that the speaker transition binder is updated to reflect it as such. Deputy Speaker Richard.
Office hours are not required this week. They will be next week, but not for this week. You get the first week off. Also, another hat I wear is Chair Sufek, which will be having its first meeting of the semester tomorrow at 3:30 in UC 261, I think, or 264. I think 261. So if you want to swing by and see what it looks like. It's an open meeting, so.
I just wanted to quickly say with the new semester, a lot of students have different routines kind of around campus. So they sometimes have different student affairs issues that come up for them around campus. So as senators, just try to be aware of new issues, and if you can, direct them to the correct resources that they need if you are aware. If you have any questions about those resources, feel free to come talk to myself. Or Keaton as well, but he is not here today.
Any other announcements? No once? Good twice? Seeing none, one call with that, we're on adjournment. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Senator Schwab.
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Seconded by Senator Reyes. Can I get a voice vote?
Acclamation.
Acclamation's been called. Any opposed? Once, twice, see you. It's 9:04. We're out of here.
I mean, it must have been very crazy because even there were
You need anything from me or no? Okay. You guys have everything you need, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot of, yeah. I did it.
What is that word?
Aye.
What does that mean? Affirmation.
Aye.